Right, today we're going to have a look at wide format printing. So in Dolphin, once you log in, you've got the taskbar on the top. Under the Home tab, we're going to click on Quote, and that's going to open up our estimating module. Now, once this estimating module propagates, you're going to see a little taskbar right on the top of your screen. Now, let's just give it a sec. There we go. We'll expand that. So this taskbar right on the top of the screen has various icons. If you just hover your cursor over the icon, it tells you exactly what it does. So here you can copy over quotes, you can delete, you can add a new quote, and there's a refresh button as well. Below that, we've got two tabs. The one that's highlighted in green is the details tab, and that shows you all the details of the actual quotation. If you hit on the list tab, this is going to display a list of absolutely all the quotes and jobs in your system. Under every heading, you're able to filter to find quotes. So if you want to see all the quotes for maybe Dolphin, all you've got to do is start typing Dolphin in that column, and it will filter through and display everything under Dolphin Works in your system. So there you can see there's a list of all the quotations, and if I head a bit further down over here, you'll be able to see there's a job tab. If I expand on that, you'll be able to see all the jobs in the system. Okay. You can also filter via the actual quote number or job number, and that you'll find under the document number column. So it's this column over here. So if I'm searching for a particular document number, like maybe 29644, I've just got to type it in, and there we go. There's the actual quotation. If I highlight it and I want to see the details of this quotation, I can just click on that details tab and everything is displayed. Now, to start a new quotation in wide format or signage, what you're going to do is you're going to hit this little green plus button to add a new quote. The system is now going to clear out all of these filters. To start a new quotation, you can see document type on top is showing quotation now. You'll see the quote number or the next available quote number has been selected, and this is version 1 that we're going to be working on. So the first thing you need to complete is the administration column. So you can click under client, select the client. I'll just say AppCon group. Under contact, you can click over there, and if you've got various people you're dealing with at AppCon, that can be the correct person can be selected out of a list. In this case, you can see there are no people listed under contact. So if you need to add somebody, you won't need to leave the quote. You can just hit that plus button over there. It will now open your client entity field. There we go. And at the top, it's highlighted AppCon as the company you're working with. Now at the bottom, you need to propagate the client contacts. So we're going to hit this little green plus button. It's going to open up the entity details. You can now state Mr. and I'll say name is Joe and surname is Soap. So that's his details. I can come down to general and I can put in telephone numbers, mobile numbers, job title. I'll just say in this case he's the manager. The department is the procurement department. And this email address is very important in Dolphin because Dolphin is going to use, when you're emailing a quotation off to a client, it's going to use the email address that is populated under the client contact. So this would be something like joe@appcon.co.za. Right? So once that's populated, you have this notes field over here. And in this notes field, you can type in anything pertaining to Joe. You can say maybe Joe handles all signage for the company. And then you can also say, let's just take the comma out. And you can also say below that, please send all signage quotes to Joe. So anything pertaining to Joe, you can type in the notes over there. What's important to know about this field is that it doesn't print on any documentation that the client's going to see. It's for internal use only. Okay. You can then propagate the physical address, postal address details, and then What you can do is once everything is populated according to your requirements over here, you just need to type or tick the active box on the top right hand side. The minute you tick that, Joe will be able to be selected as a contact in the quotation. Now I've ticked him as active. I just need to click OK now, and Joe is now listed under AppCon. So now if I close this and I come back into the system, I can just hit that refresh button to pull it through, and I can hit contacts, and there's Joe's details. So I can select Joe now as the contact person for this quotation. Under type, if you hit in that column, it's basically where you're going to specify the type of job that you're quoting on. So here you can say it's posters, it's folders, whatever the case may be. You don't need to populate it. It is handy though if you want to pull reports in Dolphin on all the posters that's been done over a certain period of time. Then you need to populate the type. You can also add to that field by hitting the plus button as we did by adding the contact, and it will open up the field where you populate all the types of work that you do. So you can put in your chroma deck sign, whatever the case may be. All you got to do is hit that plus button. You can type it in over there, and let's say we put in chroma deck. So I'll say chroma deck sign, and basically you can just click OK, and it will now be available in the system. So if I start searching for chroma deck, there we go. Okay, so I'll just close that. Originator is the person who's doing the quotation. Okay, so if you've logged in under your name, it will pull through automatically under originator. We've then got a previous job field. This is if you have a previous job number and you want to list it in the quotation as a reference, you can populate it over there, whatever the number may be. Now, in Signage, you're not going to populate the description on the top, nor are you going to select a size or quantity as you would do in litho printing. Instead, you're going to come right down here, click on the Signage tab. It's going to open up the Signage section, and you will then start your quotation. So under the section, you need to select what it is you're going to be quoting on. So I'm going to click the plus button. It's going to open up over here. I'm going to select the poster because we said we're quoting on posters, and I'm going to hit the add button to pull it into the system. Once the system knows you're quoting on a poster, you can then come to this description field and you can type in a description for the poster. Alternatively, you can hit this little edit wide format tab. It's going to open up the description field for you, where you can see basically a full box, typing box of what you can populate in there. So I can say maybe it's going to be a A1 poster, and I can say that it's printed in in full color, one side on poster paper, or whatever you want that description to be. I'll keep it short and sweet. Once you do that, you can click OK, and you'll see under description, that description is now going to populate in that field. Next thing you need to do is add in a quantity. So I'll say we're quoting on 10 posters. Then under depth and width, you need to put in the size of the poster. We said it's A1, so your depth is going to be 841, and your width is going to be 594. And that's basically all you're going to populate on the top over here. You're then going to come down to tasks. Now, just to give you a bit of a breakdown of what tasks is, this is where you're going to select the function that you're going to be performing on this poster. Either printing, cutting, whatever the case may be, all the tasks related to that poster will be found under the task tab. So to add a new task, we're going to hit that green plus button. You'll see there's all the items are categorized. So if I go to printing and I expand on the printing, I can choose out of my machines available. So I'm going to run it on this Roland printer. So I'll select the Roland printer and hit the add button. Right, so it's now pulled in the printer. The next thing we need to do is add the material or link the material to the printer. So we come over to the material side, we hit the plus button, and we're now going to search for poster paper. So we can type poster into the filter, and you can see we've got a 200-gram poster paper. You'll see on the top right-hand side over here, you'll be able to see who the supplier of that paper is. And we've just selected something random. But let's be a bit more specific over here. If the supplier of that paper is maybe Calidec or something like that, you can put Calidec in. And this cost over here has to be the cost of the roll of paper. Okay, so let's say that roll of paper is 900 Rand. Now, the minute I click off, I've adjusted that price. If I scroll across, you'll see it has now date stamped when that paper price was changed. So all you've got to do to see if your paper price is still valid is look at that updated date in there. You can see it's the 10th month 2024, so chances are that paper price is correct. Now, under the actual paper, if I scroll across, you can see the unit of measure is square meters. Okay, so we're calculating the machine at the cost per square meter and the material at the cost per square meter. So that 900 Rand per roll needs to be worked back to a cost per square meter, and that's what you're going to populate under the cost field over here. Okay, so that the system knows what that price is per square meter. Once that has all been completed, you can now add it into the quotation and it will work out the cost of the paper for that particular job. You'll see over here in this field over here, it's showing you that the quantity required is 6.75 square meters. It's even telling you the kgs of that paper. And once again, you telling it that you're costing it at 32 Rand 90 per square meter. So that is the cost for the required amount of square meters. Likewise, over here under the machine, you'll be able to see if I scroll across over here, you can see that the cost to run this job is basically 749 Rand, and that is based on 150 Rand per square meter and multiplied by the required amount of square meters to run this job. And it will then give you the total of 749. So now we've calculated, or we've added in the printer, we've added in the material. The next thing we need to do is go to the top over here if there's nothing else to add. If you want to add in cutting and you've got maybe a rotary trimmer, you can add it in over here. Otherwise, if you're happy your quote is complete, you can come to the top. You can see the quantity is 10. That's the selling price. That's your cost price. Your adjustment is the difference between your selling and your cost. In other words, your margin in Rand value. And then SPU is the unit cost per poster. In this case, it's 135 Rand 99 cents. Okay. Now you can see what your markup is over there. It's 40%. Now what we can do is, if we're done with this quotation, we can hit the print button. And we're now going to generate a quote letter for this particular job. Now, this is a demo version, so I must just check it's going to pull up the right quotation letter. If not, I'll select it from the drop-down. Okay, that is the incorrect one. So what I'll do is I'll hit this drop-down and I'll choose the correct large format quote letter by going to print report and selecting from our options available over there. Now you can see over here I've got quite a number of stuff available, so I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to take my quotation list and I'm going to open that. And now we've got the actual large format quote letter. You can see the poster. In this particular demo version, it's not pulling the description through, but when we set your documents up, we'll set it up for that description to pull through. As mentioned, this is just a demo version. This quote letter will contain whatever you want shown on here, as long as the data is reflected within the estimating package. And basically we can customize this quote letter like any other document in Dolphin to look however you want it to look. Okay, so we're able to mimic your quote letter you're currently using if you're on a different system, or we can generate a complete new quote letter especially for you. Now, once this is done, you've got two options. You can either hit the print button to print out a hard copy, or hit the email button to basically convert this to a PDF, attach it in your Outlook, and you can just send it off to the client. Now, that was a simple poster. Now, just to give you a feel for this, I'm going to delete that poster. And I'm going to add in maybe from scratch. I'll do a Chromadex sheet. So I'll just search for my Chromadex and I'll take in that Chromadex sheet and I'll add it. And now I'm going to state, I'll leave the description out for now. I'll state that I need 2 Chromadex boards and the depth is going to be 500 and the width is going to be 800. Okay. I'm now going to come down to tasks. I'm going to hit the plus button. I'm going to select my printing, take my roll-in printer, add it in. I'm now going to select my material, and in this case, I'm going to look for vinyl. So I can search for my vinyl, select that, add it in, We've now linked the material to the printer. I can now come back to task over here, and what I'm going to do is I need to apply this vinyl. So I'm going to hit the plus button now. I'm going to go to mounting, and I'm going to search for my apply vinyl to chromadeck, and I'm going to add that in. And now we need to link a material to that application. So we're applying the vinyl to chromadeck, so we need to link the actual chromadeck as the material. So with that highlighted, I'm going to come over to material, hit the plus button. I'm going to search for my chromadeck per square meter. So there we've got chromadeck per square. I'm going to add that in. You can also list it per sheet, entirely up to you. Now we've basically assigned the material to the application of the vinyl. Now I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to add in another operation under finishing, and I'm going to search for welding. Okay. And this is how you're going to build up the final product, by adding in all the tasks and assigning the materials. So now that I've added in welding, the next thing I need to do is I need to assign a material to the welding. So we're going to hit the plus button under material. And I'm now going to search for my 25mm aluminium square tubing. So I'm going to select that, add it in. So that's going to make up the frame for the chromadeck sign. And then let's say you want to add, just to add another operation, let's say you want to put that sign on a pole. So I'm going to hit the add button over here. I'm going to take that welding out of the filter, and I'm now going to go into mounting. So I'll select that, and I'll select maybe just system and add that in. And under material, I'm going to select a 2-meter pole. So let's just see, we select pole 2 meters, and I can add it in. And that's basically how you're going to build up to the final product. Now, once you're done, you can come to the top. You can see basically again your selling price, your cost price, and your unit price for that sign. Okay, and then you can hit the print button and you can print out the quote letter. Now, the nice thing about Dolphin is if you do chromadeck sheets or any other type of signage on a regular basis, okay, you won't have to go through this process every time you do a quote. You're able to save templates in the system. To give you an example, all you've got to do under that sort is type in CT, and it's going to create a template for that chromadeck sheet. So if I go CT, which means create template, and I click into a blank space, you can see it has generated a template of this chromadeck sheet. So now if I start a new quotation, so this is next time around you want to quote on a chromadeck board of this nature again, you're going to start a new quote. You're going to select whoever the customer is. I'm not going to fill in all the details. I'm just going to come down to signage, hit the plus button, and you'll be able to see a list of templates. So let's just give it a minute. There we've got a template for chromadeck sheet. This is the last one we added on the top over there. So I'm just going to highlight that, and I'm going to add it into the quotation. And the minute we add it in, it's going to pull in all the stars and materials automatically, as you can see over here. So the next thing we need to do is just populate the quantity, and I'll say it's 2. And now the size might vary, so I'll say in this case it's going to be 600 by 950. So it's going to be a bigger sign this time around. And I just click into a blank field, and it will calculate this cost automatically for you, give you the selling prices and everything that's required, and basically your quote is done. So it's as simple as that, people. Now, if you want to convert this to a job card or a work ticket, all you've got to do is come to the top of it, click the convert to work ticket button, just select yes. It's now going to open up what we call a job form. So we'll just give it a second. So once this job form opens up, you're going to have to populate some information required for the actual job card or work ticket. And that's going to be stuff like your delivery date, client purchase order number, whatever the case may be. So we can come down over here. You can assign a rep to that particular client or to this job. You can come down to the required date, and you can say the customer needs this complete by Friday the 15th. So you can populate that. and then you can come across, put in the client's purchase order number and any special instructions, we to install or whatever the case may be. And then you can just hit the print button, and basically we've now created a work ticket for this particular job. Now we don't have any descriptions or anything in this dummy quote, so as you can see, nothing is populated there. But what I'll do is, if I go down once again next to my printer and go print report, I can just look for that signage work ticket in my list. So I'll just go down to work ticket, digital signage, open that up, and you should now see a work ticket that's been populated with materials. There we go. So you can now see the quantity over here, the due date on the top over there, your job number, the next job number in the system, the date that you basically received the order. You can see at the bottom, wide format. It's a chromatic sheet. You can see below over here, you need to apply it to the chromatic. The chromatic is in, the welding is in, the 25mm square tubing, the Roland is in. And this is once again a customizable document, the work ticket instructions we to install. So we can add any information you require on this document. It's very basic on the demo, but to keep it simple basically. But we can add any information you require on this work ticket based on how your factory operates. And then once again, you can hit the print button, send it into circulation, or you can email it through to your production department or whatever the case may be. So that's basically how you do large format quoting and generate a job card or work ticket off from a quotation within Dolphin. So just a little recap, that is a button you're going to press to create the job. And once the job has been created, you can see now visible to you under document type is the actual job, and it's assigned the job number for you. Thank you very much.